What is up, stat check, folks? I am by myself because Innes can't navigate an airport by himself. And Nathan decided that he has things that are more important than all of you. So remember who really loves you during this holiday season. It's me. Yeah. What's going on, guys? Talk to me, folks. We need things to talk about. Yes, there will be a lot of AdMech bashing. They're a lame army for nerds that I totally wouldn't be playing if there was more melee in it. That's absolutely true. If they just had fires of whatever the shit that makes AdMech players cry, then maybe, just maybe, I too would play them. Yeah, Anthony versus the world. That's true. Nos nailed it. It's lunchtime in New Zealand. Oh, God. Man, time zones are confusing. Very simple, man. What up, what up? Let people filter in for a minute or two before I just start spouting off about nonsense. Is there anything better than the fact that Guard won't be at LVO? I really think that's the best thing that's happened in months. God, it's so nice that they're just not going to be there in an ideal world. That faction is such bullshit. They're either NPCs and awful and useless, which is what they deserve to be, or entirely broken. And in an ideal world, they just would never be in. Yeah. Yeah, no Guard at LVO. That's the dream. Tim, you said you were in Miami. I assumed you were doing reckless shit, so that's why we didn't even try and tag you in. The others aren't here this week because Innes can't figure out how to navigate an airport despite having been in them tons of times. And Nathan decided he has more important stuff to do than hang out with you guys. So, again, remember your favorite when the holidays grow close. You're sending a Kiwi to LVO with Custodes. Oh, gross. Does that mean David's playing Custodes? There's no other Kiwis that go to LVO. That's not real. Oh, appreciate that, Tim. LVO doing set terrain and no player plays. It's not set terrain. It'll just be certain pieces on certain layouts will be set, as opposed to the other way around, where you just place whatever you like. So now you only have to play it's like a tower defense game instead of full roller coaster tycoon. You just put down parts of it as opposed to all of it. He didn't mess up in Newark. He apparently threw in Heathrow. I think that's what I've heard. Your favorite being Curie is fair. That's most people's favorite, and he is better than most of us, so that's valid. So yeah, this is our life now, folks. This is what life without the others looks like. It's just me. Until we get potentially the rest, who knows? Maybe, just maybe, Innes will pop out of the floor like a Scottish groundhog or whatever animal that does that. Heathrow could be easy to navigate, but you got to take that up with Innes. I don't know, man. Newark's pretty straightforward, I thought, when I was there, but no, Cliff's house betrayed him. Not like the members of his family, but like his physical structure. How did Innes actually find the USA? Innes seemed to enjoy himself. We took him to a crazy good restaurant. His first meal in the US was USA McDonald's, which was kind of funny. And then from there, it was pretty good. We had a good time. I am sticking with Emperor's Children for LVO most likely. I would not play Bile again outside of teams if you put unless you put like a weapon to my head. Bile was fun, but boy, not having options sucks. Budget Innes, aka Chris. That's not nice, Alex. Don't call him that. My tournament was good. I don't know how Innes found the USA as he can't navigate airports. He didn't have to. I don't know. Maybe some nice lady held his hand and walked him through the airport the first time. But past that, I couldn't tell you. My tournament was good. I played round 1 on stream. You guys all got to see that. So that was cool. And then I played a bunch of the rest of the event in the 01 bracket on WinPath, so I played a lot of people that lost in the first round. So some people caught an unfortunate pair of hands. And that was that. Bikes in EC? Ugh, please no. They're so expensive. They're functionally 5 points per model more for a minimum sized unit. So I cannot get behind that. GSC are scary because they're confusing and my brain is tiny. Okay, Jesus Christ, finally. Surprise myself. There's extra people. It just took them forever to get here. Oh my God.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to episode 23 of Stat Check, NPC Faction Unplayable. And we have Anthony with us, but joining us as a special guest because we are short of people because Nathan and Innes are both on planes or in airports, is a friend of the show, Francois Dalonde, one of my co-hosts on the Canhammer podcast. Say hello.
Hey.
Non-notable player.
Non-notable player.
Now I know what Francois looks like. It ruins the mystery. Just knowing what he sounds like.
You would have met him at all his dust anyways.
Yeah. He's not going to
what you imagined. No, I can't. My teaching schedule just won't allow it.
Oh, I guess that makes some sense. Oh, so you're probably real anti-push WTC forward then.
So I'm good actually because my semester ends. I'm basically off from June till September.
Oh, okay, fine. Yeah. So you're like, it's okay. You can push.
Yeah, it's fine. As long as it's in July, I'm good.
Okay, gotcha. June, no good.
June gets dicey. Yeah.
Okay. Alrighty. So welcome everyone to the actual episode now. Does anybody else have any ridiculous questions they'd like to ask me specifically before we go into real show? Because I did bait a whole bunch of people into watching by being like, I'm going to be by myself. Yeah, I've been taken over by the Canadians. That's true. My current EC build that I'm testing next has a unit of 5 spawn in it, so keep an eye out for that. Because fuck getting smited long ways.
I guess they are the most efficient points per wound unit in the book, aren't they?
They sure are. And if you shoot at them and fail, they heal.
Yeah, that's actually pretty good.
Yeah, it's really annoying. They're also just fast enough to be in front of the Terminators. And you can delightful agonies them in Emperor's Children.
Yeah, because they get the slash keyword. That's actually really clever.
Slash keyword. Fuck you, Thousand Suns. Except you, TJ. Love you. Yeah. Spawner where it's at. This episode should be titled The Free Healthcare Takeover. If Kenny had a choice in this, that would be what it was called. He called Kiri that most of the weekend.
Yep.
More or less still on the same Votan build. Last question. More or less still on the same Votan build I think is best, but I did post a pretty unhinged Zerker build in our Discord today. If you want to see that, go to our Patreon and subscribe. All right. Now we should do real episode things. Talk to us about math and stuff, Jeremy.
All right. Weekly stats. I'll go through just real quickly. There were, I believe, 8 events this weekend that I tracked. Just going to double check. 9 events that I tracked this weekend because there was one on Down Under pairings. We had Chaos, which is mainly T-Suns with Flamers or Chaos Knights with Flamers or Bile with Flamers, had a 63.7% win rate. 1 event win, 4 top 4s, and an overrep of 1.74. They were the second most popular faction, if I remember correctly, not counting Space Marines.
That's pretty high.
Who knew this many people owned Flamers?
Yeah, on the win rate and player total bump. That's a big number.
Yeah. In terms of popularity, Space Marines maintain their hold. Chaos Space Marines are second. Craft Worlds is third. Chaos Demons is fourth. Chaos Soup is sixth. And then right behind them is Leagues of Votan, who actually have more players this week than Tyranids and Necrons and Tau and Orcs. And... Pardon?
I said we've been replaced.
We have been. The short Kings are slowly taking over.
I can't like that faction.
They were also the second most winning faction of the weekend. They had a win rate of 61%, 1 event win, 4 top 4s, and an overrep of 1.97. So, you know, they're doing fine.
That's pretty good, yeah. For being the second highest in rep? Third, that was?
third or fourth. They're like, I think they're third when you exclude the two Marine factions, because obviously those get broken out into like 6 or 7 each.
Right.
And then third of the week is Gene Stealer Cult. Only 6 players, but they had a 60% win rate and 1 top 4. So they had an over up of 1.81. It's the same thing with like, yeah, apparently GSC players that are still holding on to the faction are doing quite well with it. Tyranids, completely dead faction, 21 players, 59.5% win rate, 1 event win, and 3 top 4s for an over up of 1.55.
And at least 1 loss to Grey Knights.
At least 1 loss to Grey Knights. Maybe more. Tyranids, Chaos Space Marines, 30 players. Like, their numbers continue to increase week after week after week. I wouldn't be surprised if another couple months they actually come close to Space Marines, provided they don't get hit in the nuts by an Abaddon nerf or something along those lines in the next Balanced Day slate. They had a 55% win rate, 1 event win, and 4 top 4s for an over up of 1.45. And then rounding us out is Chaos Demons with 26 players, a 53.7% win rate, 2 event wins, and 3 top 4s for an over rep of 1.25. Notable is Guard had a 35.8% win rate this weekend. And New Guard had a 39.5% win rate this weekend.
Just doing their best to lose. Good job, folks.
Apparently, they went from we're going to have a 60% win rate with New Guard to a 40% win rate with New Guard.
How many New Guard players, though?
Like 10. Not very many.
It's almost like week to week win rate is probably not the thing that you should like super focus on.
No, but if continual weeks you see people sitting at the 60s, there's probably a problem.
Yes.
Looking at you, Chaos and Tyranids.
Yes, ignore the Harlequins. Don't pay attention to those.
Although, amusingly enough, the second highest over-rep at 1.81 was Thousand Suns with 6 players because they had 1 top 4. And that's pure T-Suns. No Flamers.
No Flamers. Ugh, it's like they're not even trying.
I know.
Except that one dude from Leeds. What a hero.
He is indeed a hero. And Space Marines are still sitting at a 43% win rate for the weekend, which is, a little bit on the sad side, but that's where they've been sitting all edition, so no change is good.
Yeah.
And you'll be happy to hear this. Custodes had a 41.5% win rate this weekend.
Every week they lose more games than they win. It's what they deserve.
All right. That's the stats for the week. Anthony, how was your weekend?
My weekend was great. I had an awesome time. We made Ennis go to bed at something approximating reasonable hours. We played a tournament. I lost in the first round, which hasn't happened to me in 2 years. Happened to me since the first time that I played at a GT-sized event. So between my last GT and my first GT, I both lost in the first round. That is the only 2 times that has happened. That was an interesting eye opener for the list. It was like, oh, I can't go wide because we're playing directly at each other, and I can't hit your castle enough. And if you put one unit behind another unit, unit 2 is now immortal. So, all right, we'll see how this goes.
Yeah, and you lost to the same person that I lost to at that event, which was Tony, the Sisters player, who ended up playing. I think he ended up placing 5th overall or 6th overall.
It definitely wasn't 5th because I got 5th, and he had 2 losses. So
he would have been 6th because he finished right above me then.
Yeah, he lost to TJ and then caught the hands from Ennis. But shout out to Tony. He did really well. He played our game super well. So
yeah, he played my game exceptionally well. Lost that game by 2 points over 3 Berserks failing to kill 2 Novitiates with full rerolls to hit and them having a token.
Fools.
Yep. I split my attacks. I put 3 into 1 and 2 into the characters. I should have put all 5 into the Novitiates and just said I need that unit dead. Yep. They went on to be a nuisance pain in my rear for the rest of the game.
Yeah. I'd be like that sometimes.
Did you kill the
characters, or did you just kill no one? Did you split
the character died, and then he did the Sisters thing. I'm going to pay CP and a Miracle Dice, and they come back to life. Yeah, it was just like, right, you can do that. So it was resources spent and didn't get anything out of it. But yeah, learned a lesson. Don't split your attacks if you need a unit, especially dead. That's one of the first lessons you learn usually.
Often trolling, yeah.
Yeah. And then I lost to Innis immediately after that. I will admit I played that game very tilted. Over after my game against Sisters, I was just like, I'm just gonna do this, and I'm playing into Innis, and this is gonna be an interesting game. And
we'll see how this goes.
Took Interrogate and managed to score 3 points on it.
The 3 is impressive. I'm surprised it wasn't 0.
Well, the first time I was out of deny range.
What does he have that does?
No, wait, no, I wasn't out of deny range. I rolled 10 on it.
Oh, and he was just like, I guess you get that.
Yeah, he tried to deny it anyways because I only have 2 casts, and he had plenty of denies in range. And then the second one he denied, and then my Psyker died.
Yeah, unless the mid player has old One Eye in their list, you're gonna be in deny range.
Deathly for Parasite.
Okay.
Tyranid Prime.
Yeah, see? Tyranid Prime. Oh. Imagine.
You want exploding sixes?
Ugh. No, don't do that, please. Imagine looking at the Hive Tyrant datasheet and being like, you know what I could do instead with my HP slots? Taking one of those.
Yeah, and you can give him Reaper.
Oh, stop. That's one way to ensure your Reaper doesn't die on turn 2, Innis.
That was turn 1.
Oh, no, against Sean it was. The other time, not so much.
Oh, right. Against Sean, it was turn 1.
Yeah. Innis is going to have to come on every podcast in the future just so he can defend himself from getting no context flamed.
Innis played an exceptionally good weekend. He finished 3rd, if I remember correctly, because he dropped that 1 game to Grey Knights.
Yep.
Who, in Innis's defense, played an absolutely amazing and also hell of a win path, because he then went on to play TJ.
Yep.
Who TJ beat by, I think, 6 points.
Yep.
But yeah, it was a hell of a weekend. It was a great event. I was really happy to go down there. I do have a little bit of a blurb that I want to read because the event was actually a charity event.
Yep, sure was.
And so the event was so this is the second year that this event's been running, if I remember correctly, from what Linda said.
Yes.
So the event was kicked off by Linda Melendez. She is the president of the National Federation of the Blind of New Jersey. And so what they are is the National Federation of the Blind of New Jersey is an affiliate of the National Federation of the Blind. It's a community of blind and sighted people who believe in the hopes and dreams of blind people. Every day they raise the expectations of blind people because low expectations create obstacles between blind people and their dreams. They accomplish this through a number of initiatives, from advocating for legislation to providing independent skills training through their educational programs. Their BELL, which stands for Braille Enrichment for Literacy and Learning Academy, welcomes blind students between the ages of 4 and 12 for 2 weeks every summer to learn Braille and non-visual skills needed to help them grow into confident and independent blind adults who can live the lives they want. Their scholarship program provides 5 scholarships every year to high-achieving blind college or graduate students who excel in both academics and in their communities. And they just put out a special thanks to the Warhammer community for our support, as the money that we've raised will support those programs and help blind people turn their dreams into reality. And this is all going to be in the show notes and in the show description down below. There'll also be a link to the National Federation of the Blind of New Jersey. If I remember correctly, hearing at the end of the event, we raised somewhere north of $3,500 for the National Federation of the Blind of New Jersey, which was really awesome. And there were a few people who were in attendance. If I remember correctly, there was one individual who was blind who was playing with his father, and he had an absolute blast. I believe his name was Dean.
Yep.
And he had a grand time that entire weekend. And so it was very weird being in the position because I had traveled for this event and people had pointed out that I had traveled for this event. So I had multiple individuals coming up to me during the weekend thanking me for having come out, which for me, I'm just like, I'm here to play 40K.
I'm on vacation.
Yeah.
But you got to do things. So cool.
Yeah. No, it was awesome. It was a great weekend. Highly recommend Kenny and his tournament staff. They put on an amazing tournament. Do not recommend Games Workshop terrain just because it's boring and monotonous and monolithic.
A bit binary.
It's very binary. Playing the same layout for 6 games in a row got real boring.
Yep. God bless WTC. Praise be.
Yeah, that was my weekend. Francois, what have you been up to?
This weekend I went to a small RTT. Well, I guess not that small. There was 20 players, but only 3 rounds, right?
That's a thick RTT.
Yeah. So tickets suddenly started selling, and we ended up packed 20 into the store, which was great. And I took a Votan list that Anthony made fun of me for taking and told me it was bad. and I won all 3 of my games. So my bad choices are now
Did you get
being,
first?
reinforced. Yes.
Damn it! I was hoping you got like second on battle points or something, so I could be like,
Well, I got first because strength of schedule was the tiebreaker, and I ended up
Oh.
playing 2 Team Canada members, so I had the toughest path to my wins. I was
And
second
yes.
in battle points, so in your heart you can say I was second.
Yeah, you get a pass this time. One
At least
good
it wasn't an
tournament
opponent game
running,
win.
you'd have gotten second.
Yeah. Sorry, Jeremy, what was that?
No, I was just saying, at least it wasn't an opponent game win.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, the
True.
non-consensual team tournaments.
No, it was
And-
super fun. I really enjoy the Votan. They're fun. They shoot a lot. The Berserkers are amazing, and I got to make a poor knight player very, very upset because that's about the hardest counter you can think of in the game.
Yep. You can't hide. I can shoot. Sorry.
Yep.
And yes, Alex, I do actually prefer player place terrain to GW, but I will put that with the caveat of I prefer our player place terrain to GW, not Frontline Gaming's player place terrain. I still think that they should enforce something with regards to the middle to avoid that first turn drop, because if not, every single game at LVO, I'm going to be like, so do I win the roll to win the game, or do I get to just deal with the fact that my opponent placed a ruin where I can't interact with it?
Did they mention if the fixed centerpieces will be for all layouts or just that one?
I believe it was just the Necron one.
Yeah, I didn't read that part of the article super critically.
It came up while we were at the event. I need to go back and reread it because that also came with the rest of the announcements with regards to the Guard Codex.
Yeah, the correct and good announcement.
I do feel a little bad for guard players. They're gonna have gone an entire edition without having their codex live for LVO.
Yeah, that's fine. Better that they go an entire edition with no codex than it ruins this LVO.
Yeah, although I do feel a little badly for them because LVO, or rather Frontline Gaming, has chosen to interpret the content validity document as meaning December 31st things expire instead of January 31st. So
yeah, that part's fucked.
So
that part's not great.
They don't get Inquisitors. They don't get the Cadian supplement. They don't get the Scion regiments or any of those rules, and they don't get any of the regular guard upgraded strats that they really rely on. So no tank aces, no full payload manticores, no halo fire on your Lehman Russes.
Good.
It's bad.
Man.
So I don't think you'll see you might see a handful of hardcore guard players at LVO, if any.
Yeah. In an ideal world, that codex would have gotten lost in the ocean, but this is a close second.
I mean, in an ideal world, they release a guard codex that actually balanced and people enjoy playing into.
Yeah. Maybe.
I don't think they did.
I don't think by the design. I don't think by the design of that army that's actually possible. It's just cheap, way too fast infantry that has OBSEC, and then guns that shoot really hard, but they die. You say, but they're cheap. So it doesn't matter. At least
the infantry is slower now. It doesn't go as fast as an Eldar jet bike anymore.
It can, if you don't advance the jet bike.
Sure.
No, even then it can't, because don't jet bikes move 16 inches base?
It depends on the bike. Wow. But yeah.
Yeah, so they can move 12 now, not 24.
I guess.
Yeah, I fully expect Brett, the Katakan Urbanowski, to show up with guard of some form.
Yeah, he probably will do. What am I going to break if GW releases the guard codex on the 15th? As long as list lock is still open and I can change things, that's fine. If it's after list lock and they're like, only guard gets to change, then I'll be furious. But that would be a funny way to make it so that you had to commit to bringing shit guard and then bet that they'll release the codex on time. That'd be pretty funny. So I don't know. Yeah.
You get to really find out who has a crystal ball there.
Yeah, or just inside information, you know.
Well, that's what I meant, yeah.
But this is 40K, so we pretend that no one has that and we just keep it moving.
Yeah. Now, I have heard through the grapevine a little bit of scuttlebutt. I don't know if people are interested in rumors or not, but I imagine that they usually are because everyone loves drama. So apparently I was also just checking. 4 of the FLG terrain pieces will have fixed centerpieces out of the 7, so that's actually pretty good.
That is pretty good. Good job, Frontline.
Yeah, I have the article open in front of me. But one of the interesting things is that the Guard Codex may very well be out by the list lock deadline for LVO. Anyway, so all of this could have been for nothing, including that lovely little announcement that Frontline Gaming made and then subsequently rewrote, which was very weird that it happened that way, because you saw the announcement come out and they said, GW has asked us to not do this. And then, basically, I can't think of the word I can't think of the word right now, but doing things alongside others, along with the WTC, which doesn't really have any events until July or June or August.
Sometime in the summer.
Sometime in the summer. We don't know when yet.
Captain's decisions. Yay!
And the UKTC that they wouldn't use the Guard Codex until it was fully out. However, no one's really said why they're all saying this. And common sense would be GW is telling them not to. Maybe.
Surely they just noticed a typo and rewrote half the article. That's what happened. It was an editorial decision.
Yeah. And I'm sure that this didn't have anything to do with the fact that Mike Brandt commented on the Facebook comments of that article that we didn't tell you to do this.
Yeah.
But strongly suggesting and telling is not the same, Jeremy.
Yeah.
Yeah, strongly suggesting and telling, but twisting one's arm with lawyers might actually be doing that.
Right before I got my knife wound, it was strongly suggested that I hand over my wallet. No one was forcing me to do anything.
Yeah, it's a mess. And honestly, if the Guard Codex ends up coming out like the 15th, that is going to be just hilarious because of all of this.
It would be very funny. It also would be really sad. I really wanted to play LVO without Guard.
I'm on the fence, but I probably am in the similar boat where I would rather continue to practice right now and just be in a position where I don't have to worry about the Guard Codex, mainly because if the Guard Codex comes out and LVO says it's legal, there are so many things in that book that need to be fact, let alone the balance side of things. Sorry.
Francois, do you have the Guard Codex?
Yes, I do.
Does it have secondaries in it?
Nope. So presumably you're using the Nephilim secondaries.
The ones that you can't score because a bunch of those.
Correct. The keyword is not right. Yeah.
Yeah, like a whole bunch of stuff's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Like 3 of the
it's regiment versus regimental. There's a bunch of the keywords are slightly different.
Well, there's no Vox in the
right.
Yeah, keywords are wrong. Orders don't technically exist in the same way that they did before. Like we're doing an internal scrum right now for Team Canada, and I had to put together my own FAQ because it was questions people asked. I was like, all right, change this secondary to be this, change this secondary to be this. Kazakans can only do 6 mortal wounds per activation, not with overcharged lad cells, not per unit, because you know for sure that people are going to be doing that at LVO if the book comes out.
Yeah.
Just here's 18 mortal wounds.
And even if they FAQ it, if they have the same level of enforcement that they had for the rack stratagem last year, they'll just do it anyway.
How many CP to reroll wounds again?
It just depends on who you ask. Which version of the book you look at, Yeah.
If you happen to have an Italian codex.
Sure. That's an old school joke. That's a throwback.
That's an old one. I'm just saying, Jeremy, if the Guard Codex is legal for LVO and you want to run 18 Sentinels, there's 9 on my desk right now.
There you go.
And I'll have 9 on my desk in about a week, maybe
18
less.
Sentinels, 3 Death Strikes. Do it.
How many Death Strikes do you own, Francois?
2.
I've got 1.
There we go.
Got 3.
Meta solved. That's the Broviathan this year, boys. Pack it in.
Oh, that would be so bad. The problem is, actually, I don't think it's a problem. You don't need Solar to make 18 Sentinels hilarious.
No.
It makes it a lot better. But
the fact that they're 40 points is what makes them hilarious.
Yeah. I think that I'm going to have a lot of questions for Guard people if I play them the entire time. That may or may not eat up a bunch of their clock time with their new book.
Yeah, for sure. It'll
be like, hey man, are you sure? You want to double check that that's that and not this? Hey man, how you scoring these secondaries with the wrong fucking keywords? At least Votan's still have the secondaries in their book, so you can be like, hey, reference that. Demons and guard ain't got shit in there.
Well, demons, it's the keyword that's wrong, right? Because it's Legionis Daemonica now instead of just Chaos Demons.
Demons don't have secondaries in their book.
No, they don't have them in their book, but they're in Nephilim.
Oh, yeah, sure. But those still work, right? Because it's all just like Chaos Demon, and they still have both of those keywords, so it's fine.
The keyword changed.
No, like their keyword is demon, right?
Maybe. I'd have to go look at it again.
Like they have the demon keyword still. Ostensibly.
Yeah, they do. It's just that what they allow you to be taking is Chaos Demons, not Legionis Daemonica.
Oh yeah, I don't fucking know, bro. That's above my pay grade.
And that's basically it. It's a
saying fuck demons too. I'm down. If it takes down guard, everybody can go. I won't play Emperor's Children if it'll take guard away. Like we do what we must in these trying times.
Anthony will just play his 2022 LVO list.
I would play Drukari. If you could promise me that guard won't be at the event, I would consider playing Drukari. I wouldn't do it, but I would definitely consider
it. Yeah, Tim. Sentinels being the same points as a Killacan is hilarious.
Yes.
It's a leadership on a Sentinel.
They should let you take individual Killacans.
It's probably 7, like on most guard models.
They should let you take individual Killacans. Just like one dude.
Yeah, leadership 7.
Yeah. Classic human leadership.
It's a scary world out there, man. Shit's spooky.
This is true, Luke. The price is $10,000 to get Anthony to play the army. But I believe that the army
That's true.
I believe that the army mentioned was Imperial Fists.
For 10 grand, I'll play anything. I'll play whatever you guys want.
Actually, we'll just make you play Admech. We'll make you play Siegler's
20. Oh, Admech, that's a good one.
10 grand, you're the world's your oyster.
He's not even going to bother with command phase buffs. Just shove the army forward and lose
them.
Yeah, but you got to have like the stack that people don't know what's in it.
Oh, God, I hate playing against Admech for that reason.
Yeah.
I will admit it. I try to make it transparent, and it's still like the opponent's just like, yeah, sure, you can do that.
Yeah. Yeah, you just say words in Admech command phase, and I'm just like, yeah, okay, that sounds real.
You just nod and smile and go, I have to trust that you're doing it right because I have no idea what is going on.
An opponent was fucking with me once and was like, I'm going to give them full reroll wounds. And I was like, that doesn't sound right. And he was like, because it is, and I'm just messing with you. I was like...
I mean, if he was playing the Metallica supplement and he had the lung relic.
Yeah, sure, but it's not a command phase buff, right?
No, it's not. But let's have a moment of silence for the Skitarii veteran cohort and the Metallica supplement also going away before LVO. So Admech are going to be even worse of a position. Yeah, I know.
Fuck them.
Yeah, I will not mourn for the Admech.
Nope.
My poor rusty boys.
Good.
Yeah.
Hopefully they break. Not the models themselves, but you know, in an ideal world, no one plays Admech ever again.
I'm trying to think who else is getting. Oh, I guess no Cult of Strife supplement.
Right.
Yeah,
that one's a little rough. But I will say that mainly that a lot of Drukari players haven't been playing Cult of Strife lately.
Yeah, we have no fucking command points. What do you want us to do?
There's been a lot of Cult of the Cursed Blade. There's been a lot of Precise Killer's Test of Skill custom cult.
Yeah. I mean, that you use what you can, right? Cult of Strife is really good when you have a bunch of command points. When you don't, it's like, oh.
Oh, and the one that I personally will not mourn is the Speed Wall is going away. The Speed Freak Speed Mob.
Oh, the Speed was fun.
That one was cool.
That one is so coin flippy into some armies where you're just like,
that was never our problem, right? It wasn't out yet before they got nerfed. It was never the Army of Renown.
It still is, though. Like, the Army of Renown, especially because they get access to wound rerolls now.
Just ones.
Just ones. Yeah, that's fine.
Just ones. That's all right.
I've also been bad touched by that list more than a few times, but thanks to our local Will.
Yeah. Yeah, Speedwall is fun. That was the orc version that I played.
Yeah. It is fun. BAOR going away is kind of sad, but at the same time, it also means that I think the only AORs that are still going to be legal is Coteries and Warp Meld Pact.
Freeblade Lance and Disciples.
Oh yeah, I'm thinking of ones that are outside of codexes, but yeah, Disciples of Be'lakor and the Freeblade Lance will still be, because they made the smart decision and just put those in the codex.
They should take all the supplements out if they're going to take any of them out. Like if I lose Strife, Sisters shouldn't get Bloody Rose.
Well, they don't get Armored Lady.
Right. So why do they get Bloody Rose?
Because it's good till June for some reason.
Right.
It should be gone. And like and it's one of these things where like the content validity document also hasn't been updated. So you could even, not saying anyone should do this, but you could even go ahead and say, no, the Warp Meld Pact's not legal because it's not in there.
It was never legal.
Yeah.
Because the White Dwarf came out and then nothing was, and then it wasn't updated.
It'd be pretty funny if they updated the doc in like this, like in like next week, and it was just like everybody's illegal, like nothing, just back to your codex.
Or they just move all the dates to July 1st.
Yeah, that would also work.
And honestly, that would, yeah. And Kelly makes a good point. Like the whole rotation was them trying to pretend that they intended to rotate Crusher Stampede out all along, not because Godfucker that was created by Innis and a few other Tyranid players was just. Oh, we've seen what happens when you do that. You just need to go read the Goonhammer Blunderdome articles. No one has fun with it. Yes, it did.
So it's fine.
Perfectly balanced.
It lost to pre-nerf Harlequins.
Yeah, it's okay.
Nothing won against pre-nerf Harlequins.
Really?
Yeah.
Who was piloting these lists?
I mean, there was a whole bunch of people who don't have a ton of experience. That's also the point of Blunderdome.
Yeah, that's fair.
But it turns out that if you just give someone 9 old point cost Void Weavers and the 3 base luck die,
that army was not hard to play.
And unnerfed Light and unnerfed
Mirror
Architect. It's just like, no. I hope you have 48-inch range guns that,
that ignore hit modifiers.
Even that doesn't matter.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I played it a few times. It was something.
It felt great every time. Every time I shot an Eldari player to death, that was like, Minecraft world, blah, blah. Oh, yeah, shut up, die. Enough with the fucking fate dice. I bet you didn't see this coming. Blam!
Our first practice game where you ran that 9 void list and I was running Custodes that was like the peak of the meta at the time was eye-opening, where it was just like, 9 bikes failed to kill 1 void. Uh-oh.
Yeah, the first time...
And then tabled.
The first time I played against Custodes with Harlequins, it was like the end of a Viagra commercial where they're like, call a doctor if it persists for more than 4 hours. I was so excited that there was an elf way to kill Custodes. Woo! I'd had enough.
Yeah. So the LVO meta, I guess, is more or less locked in unless the Guard Codex actually comes out on the 15th. Because I don't think it's going to come on the 8th, because there's no way that they would do a pre-order then.
Like yeah, it would have to come out. Yeah, right. I would love it if these World Leaders previews were just gearing up and World Leaders made it, but Guard didn't. That would be funny.
But you would you realize you would be obligated to play World Leaders at LVO.
Would be fucking. I'm sorry in advance, Jim, if you're watching.
Poor Jim.
My poor commission mans.
He does great work. He won Best Painted Single Model this weekend.
He did. His work is amazing. My Emperor's Children army, when it's all the Emperor's Children stuff, looks dope. But
yeah, your army this weekend wasn't so great.
I mean, it was mostly the right stuff, but it was just like the like random, like parts of it were a little more randomized. But yeah,
your cultists were special.
Yeah, those are like the second model Anna painted. Those are my beautiful boys, and they attend on Legacy Power.
Your AdMech cultists?
Oh, yeah. I mean, those are fallen guardsmen, dude. They're doing what they can.
That's right, that's right, everyone. Anthony plays with AdMech models.
Sometimes. I do my best to break them.
All right. So what is the meta at LVO going to look like then?
Fast shooting is better on frontline than your other usual options, though melee gets to like poke their head out and breathe a little bit because you can set up layouts. For all the bemoaning, like if you don't win the defender, if you do as melee, it can be quite strong. So that is a thing. People say that fast shooting is good on a layout. They're like, oh, well, on this layout, fast shooting's really good. Fast shooting is just pretty broken.
Just in general, it's good on pretty much every layout.
Yeah.
Yeah. Except for probably US Open, the GW terrain.
No, even there, it's great because you're fast. So you can just cut the angle and shoot.
Yeah, that's true.
So, as it turns out, doing things without repercussions is quite good.
So you're saying Tau will win LVO?
I don't think there'll be enough good Tau in attendance to do it.
Yeah, I guess that's highly dependent on whether the current top Tau players.
I think
hey, who knows? Maybe Jack will be on Tau then.
I think a lot of people will have brainwashed themselves off Tau to be like, oh, well, what if this? And then they won't take Tau, and then they'll get like gun lined off the board because they didn't understand or what the terrain was actually like. I think also the prominence of T-Sun's Flamers on UKTC terrain is going to scam the UK contingent a little bit. Like that list is very powerful. It's a lot less good if you can't see your opponent. And if the defender you're playing against like slams the fucking no windows ruin in the middle and puts their whole army into it, you lose right then as T-Sun's Flamers. Like no recourse, you just lost. Which like Tau can get around by being fast. T-Sun's Flamers don't have that out. They're also fairly low AP, being only 2 without ignores cover. So if you're Armor of Contempt and stood in a fucking thing, then you're just like taking your armor save. I had someone shoot 18 Flamers at my Terminators at Coventry and killed 2. I was just like, all right, cool. It's not worth it. Like it takes forever before I'm gonna fail save, and I'll CP one if I fail it because I don't want you doing extra damage. And that's how I feel about that. Yeah, it is very interesting.
Yeah, I think it'll be so. Like we're gonna see lots of T-Suns with Flamers because that's kind of the current hotness. We'll see some Tau. We'll see probably a lot of demons and a lot of other demon allied armies. CSM is definitely going to be up there. Anthony has gotten whitewashed. There we go. What else is at the top of the meta right now?
Nids, if people bring them.
That's true, actually. Kraken Nids would do exceptionally well on the FLG boards.
I think they'll be common. I think people will be playing them. That double flyer build is fun as shit. So
that double flyer build is terrifying.
Yeah.
I move 25 inches and charge you. Enjoy.
Yeah.
Well, I move 25 inches and charge you asterisk. Like terms and conditions may apply.
Yeah. There are times when you roll 3 dice for your onslaught and you fail it twice in a row.
Yep.
That's true. That is fair.
I triple ones twice at ACO. It was definitely a vibe. I was like, oh, cool.
Here's hoping he lives.
Yeah.
I did that
my Warriors, so it could have been worse. But like
at the team event in Montreal, I did that.
Yeah. It sucks, man. It's just the worst.
You just look at the dice and go, huh? Guess I lose my turn now.
Yeah. Yeah, you didn't need that. But yeah, I think the evolution of the meta will be interesting. I think a lot of people are assuming a lot of things about frontline terrain and not like without the practical experience for it. It's funny to see like this is really good takes. And it's like, well, nah.
Well,
yeah,
also,
we'll see.
How different are the various tables? Like I haven't played on it, but they look fairly different from one to the next.
They're pretty different, but there's a pretty similar like setup, if that makes sense. So like if you're a shooting army, your goal is to construct a U in your deployment zone where like the curved part is your backboard edge. That way if anyone wants to come in, they dive into the the death box. Whereas like you're basically doing that in inverse as a more aggressive player. Now sometimes you get a gunline mirror and we get the good old-fashioned Magic style who's the beatdown, and you have to kind of make that bet in player play step, which is before deploying even. So that's the thing you're kind of navigating there. So we'll see. With first floor blocking on a bunch of the more problematic pieces, frontline terrain becomes fairly dense. A lot of the expectations of gun lines should probably get toned back a level. But being fast as ever mitigates a lot of that. The ability to get around or over things can kind of break up that game plan. So it's hard to say, with any degree of certainty what that actually is like, right?
Yeah. Because I've never been to an FLG event, and I probably won't in the near future. So I look at pictures sometimes.
Combined arms is probably the ideal move, right? Which is not true of a lot of layouts. Oh, look, the terrain guidelines.
Yeah. So this is the Urban Corruption and Gothic Ruins setups.
Yep.
Gothic Ruins doesn't seem bad.
Yeah, just again, these are player plays. These are not the layout. I had 3 people message me when this went up, and they were like, "How are you supposed to do anything on this?" And I'm like, "You're not. You're supposed to move the train around and then do things on it."
Yeah, this reminds me of the if this was an actual layout, this reminds me of those fold-out terrain boards that were the rage for all of a month.
Yeah.
So the things that matter is things with a star.
Yeah, which ones have closed windows? F.
Any instance of F. Yeah.
Yep.
So you look here, and it's just these 2 big pieces.
Yep.
But the nice thing about it is that if you look at... I'm going to zoom in.
Yeah, I was going to say, can you...
There. If you look at 1A, it has a very small footprint.
It also already doesn't have windows.
Right.
It already doesn't have windows, but even if it did have windows, it's usable because you can just hide, you can tuck in behind it. It's not like if that thing had the full platform 1AF or 1BF have, where you're just guess I die or I sit in terrain.
Yep.
Yeah, no, that's actually fine, I think.
Yeah, and again, you'll get to place these. So 3 checkerboarded pieces obviously is much more effective than just randomly set up shit.
For sure. And Gothic Ruins is very similar. The big ones that have windows on the bottom floor that have pretty wide things, but 1A and 1B are a little rough.
They can be. A lot of those have most of their windows sealed usually. Just look at the table you're at when you pull those boards, because it can vary. So use your eyeballs, especially when you're picking attacker defender and you're picking your terrain layout. Grab the one with the windows. It's stupid that this has to be part of the setup, but it's a thing you have to do. So keep an eye on stuff like that.
This would mean that this arch is closed off for first floor blocking.
Yes.
Well, it makes the piece usable, because otherwise, as soon as you touch the big plate, you're seen.
Yeah, because that's a huge opening. Then we have the Orc Settlement. This one we actually have a fair amount of experience on, because there's actually a TTS mod for this one that's fairly close. It's not perfect, but it's pretty close.
Shout out the homies that did that.
Yeah. I really wish that we had a few more, because I need to get some kind of practice in on this terrain before LVO, or I'm going to be caught off guard.
I own the Gothic Ruin set. We can practice on it.
Beautiful.
Yeah, there you go. If Frontline had moved just all the tables to being the Orc Settlement set, I think they could just be fine. This layout is actually fine. Having played on this one just all of ACO, basically, this layout's fine. The old Gothic Ruin set sucks, in my opinion. I hate that set. I haven't played on Urban Corruption yet, though. Gothic Ruins makes me irate.
This one?
I hate that board. Yeah, because the best way to use 1AF and 1BF is to turn them round in your deployment zone, and that's really annoying.
Oh, and just sit on it and be I'm in cover and you can shoot me?
No, so that if they're coming to you, they have to touch it, and then they're getting shot.
Yeah. Gotcha.
It's annoying.
Then we have Field Base. What is this?
It's fine. It's 2 L's. And
I see that these are... Yeah, okay, this isn't...
Yeah.
These seem kind of useless, but that's sure whatever.
Well, you have a bigger building on the A set for that one. Because, they have one wide building.
Yeah, okay, I see.
So 3B is the 3 on that set is a bigger crate. versus 3A, which is a bit.
And this
smaller
is similar
stage.
to the orc one, where there's one that's in the middle.
Yeah.
That gets
Yep.
moved.
Yeah, it'll get shifted a bit.
Makes sense.
Notably not floor blocked on those because it would be
Magic box.
a nightmare.
Yeah. And then we have industrial base.
Yep.
That one doesn't look great.
The thing to keep in mind is that 2A is obscuring, even though it's got the big fucking barnyard door aesthetic. So if you're
Okay.
behind it, you're not getting shot.
That's something at least. But
It does look like cutting angles would get easy though.
It's not
Yeah.
hard, but yeah, that set is rough, actually. I've never played on that set.
Anglos
Oh,
points out a good
5A
point.
and 5B are obscuring as well.
I would
So
hope that
that's
those are
fine.
obscuring. But this
Yeah.
is a Tao's wet dream in terms of getting angles quit on things.
Well, yeah, because it's all flat, right?
Yeah. And then we have old champs.
Old Champ's a little rough, but first floor blocking on 1A and F
These
helps
two.
it run.
Figuring out first floor blocking on this one would be fun. What is the floor? Where's the wall?
Are the columns part of the wall or not?
No idea.
Yeah.
That's a conversation you have with your
Questions
opponent, I guess.
for the judges.
We've got the Necron table, which is called Robot City.
Yep.
This is one of the ones that apparently has a layout for it.
Yeah, this one's different, actually. I don't think this layout is right. This is different to what they posted in the article, isn't it?
This is what's in the. I have the player pack open right now. So.
Oh, okay.
And then you have Urban.
This
big
set
one
used
being.
to be rough, but those with blocking are huge.
Yeah, because otherwise, you see the huge platform on these, they wouldn't really be particularly useful.
Yeah.
Well, those look a little bit like the big triangular pieces that we use with the big plate, and if you don't close the windows on that, it might as well not be there.
Yeah.
Right. In general, the train is actually mostly fine now with the first floor blocking. It's really not that bad.
There we go. But yeah, I think it'll be interesting.
It's not the layouts that I would prefer if I could play on WTC or even UKTC for most, if not actually everything, I would. But we can't. So that's the life we got.
Makes sense. Yeah. No, I think it will be workable. It'll be manageable. I mean, realistically, a lot of us are going because of the people that are going to be there. I'm going because I think we should actually have the full stat chat crew together for the first time.
Yeah, assuming Cliff doesn't have a random life event.
Poor Cliff.
Poor Cliff. Cliff has just got the worst life event timing.
Yeah. And then I think it'll be fun. It'll be a closeout to the season, and then we get new player pack, new points, new chapter proved, all of that data slate, and we enter into a brand new
the lame duck era of 9th edition.
Yeah, we kind of do, because we all know it's the worst kept secret that 10th edition is coming this summer.
Yeah. I had motivation from January through summer is going to be rough.
Just got to get
It's going to be the WTC to motivate.
Yeah, but the problem is that the WCC could very well be played in 10th edition, in which case all of the stuff on 9th edition is whatever.
Sure. Did the captains vote on that? I thought they did.
Captain vote should have finished because it closed on the 9th, but the results have not been announced yet.
I see.
Nice.
So who knows?
And yeah, I mean, the captains know.
Sure.
Cool.
We'll both go back to our respective captains and be like, hey, so what's going on here?
Just any form of a hint, an idea.
Blink twice if we're playing 10th edition.
Yeah, just let me know to what extent I have to whip the recruits into shape. Isn't Hydar in chat? Hydar, you're a captain. What's up, bro? What are we doing?
Yeah, he's bitching about having to go to LVO for best in faction demons. So he can let us in. Do we know what we're playing yet?
Yeah, that's true.
And when we're playing it.
Yeah, the when is the other big one, whether we're playing in July or August.
Yeah, the having to go to LVO for best in faction is interesting. I'm curious to see if the ITC warps after this season.
What ITC?
The international training circuit or whatever it's called, tournament circuit.
Training circuit.
It's just prep for WDC, right? That's what the ITC is.
That's all it really is.
Circuit. Yeah.
Although we have certain people who think that just being top ranked in the ITC should guarantee you a spot in the team. That's a hot take if I've ever heard one.
Yeah, that's a take. The team every year is just people who Photom rerolled the most. Good job.
Yeah, you find yourself last year with they're still keeping us waiting. Great. All right. Yeah, you just
6 Drukari players.
6 Drukari players and then 2 AdMech players.
The one dude who picked up Speedwall at the right time right before selection.
Yeah. Do we want to go into questions, or is there anything else that people want to talk about right now?
No, I think questions is a real and good thing to look at. Let's do that. Do you want to do the plugs?
Oh god, yeah, I guess since we are in this list, I will do the plugs. So thank you if you are still watching us. You've been watching us for almost an hour now. If you like what we're doing, you can follow us, like us, subscribe to us. You can find this on youtube.com/statcheck. If you want to support us monetarily and encourage us to do some of the wackier stuff that we end up doing, like flying Innis to a random event in New Jersey, you can subscribe to our Patreon at patreon.com/statcheck. And I think that's everything. I always forget. There's always something that I miss when I do the plugs. Innis will correct me on this, I'm sure.
Put the links in the description. Click the things.
Exactly. So questions for the week. Show questions. Let's see if oh god, it's already a nightmare in there, isn't it?
I'm sure it's a shit show.
It always is.
I try and I fail just every time.
All right. How quickly or easily will guard vape Angron off the table?
Both. Yes. But then he gets to come back, and maybe the cost of vaping Angron is that you didn't vape the rhinos full of fuck that are coming in the other direction.
Or the exalted 8-bound that pregame moved to be 9 inches away from you.
Conveniently placed in a player-placed ruin. That's all I'm saying. I play more frontline events next year.
And that 16-inch move, when he comes back, that turn he's going to connect with something.
If he comes back at full wounds.
Oh, yeah.
Or if he doesn't come back when he's
if he comes back at full wounds,
something.
that ability's kind of cracked. Like, that's a lot of wounds to
much.
go through twice.
Especially if he comes back at his original position, because like I think the way to balance it would be that he gets like shoved into the warp and you can
Deep strike
spend a
him.
blood tithe and then he deep strikes in the next turn.
Yeah.
In which case, 9-inch charge.
Well, and if that's the case, remember that guard has that nice order for no deep strike within 12, so...
Oh, that would just be sad. I'm back. Where? All right. More seriously, do you see more value in building lists for events that can take most of the secondaries, or have the 2 locked in with 1 flex depending on mission or opponent?
I don't typically think about secondaries in list building, but I'm a big old heathen in the upper crust of the 40K community when it comes to that.
You definitely are with that one. But you also look to make sure that you have viable secondaries at the very least when you build your army, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, I need to be able to do something during the game, but most of that is just like playing the game shit, right? I'm like, someone's got to stand. Like, I have a category of shit for me that's like what people would refer to as like playing the mission. And I call them shitters that stand over there. And it's like a little cluster of units that's like spawn, cultists, legionnaires, shit like that. Any of the troop choices in Drukari that I took that weren't blood brides, like that sort of thing. They're dudes that go over there and they like raise banners or they rod or they fucking whatever. But most of the time I'm taking kill-based secondaries, like banners.
And as I found out by playing a Grimnir less list this weekend with my Votan, you get in a bad spot sometimes and you end up having to take lay claims 3 times in a row.
But what did you score on that lay claim for your 3 games?
15, 15, 10.
All right, never mind.
Turns on when you table the opponent, lay claims is not as hard as it sounds.
It's true. My 6th round opponent did not lay claim to anything except the afterlife.
Wasn't that your 5th round?
My 6th round.
All right, yeah. You were wandering around very early after that game.
Yes. As it turns out, tagging everything by bottom of 1. Very nice.
Hey, listen, tabling the other guy is a perfectly valid strategy, one that I use all the time.
It is. I mean, that's usually the banners plan. Raise banners on their corpses.
Yeah. 5 and then 10, when 5 with upside. That's banners.
That's a totally legitimate plan. It's the opposite of I'm going to sit in my corner and not interact with you, but it's just as legitimate and way more fun.
Mm-hmm. It's also not like lose less, which is good. I also don't think it's win more. I think that's badly used term in 40K. That is what people who are trying to sit in the corner and do nothing will tell you that something like banners on their corpses is a game plan. They're like, oh, it's win more. It's like, no, it's I tabled you, and now I don't just lose also.
And thus I win.
Because that shit sucks when you table someone and you're like, well, I took engage and this and that. You got like fucking 8 points on 3 secondaries and couldn't win.
And the Necron player scored 40 on his.
Yep.
All right, Anthony, we understand you used to play WoW to an extensive state and are one of many who used to be addicted but got out of it.
It's true.
What is it about WoW that is so addictive for many, and why are so many people thankful for when they stop and look back at it? Also, what expansion in class/spec?
I'm not super like thankful that I stopped. I just happened to find 40K, so that like worked out, right? But WoW for a lot of people, I think, provides a community of people where there may or may not be one. Like for me, you know, I always had like martial arts and stuff growing up, but I met people that I like engaged with and connected with more through WoW. Some of the people that I met playing WoW literally saved my life. So like the community aspects of WoW are a lot more important to the experience of playing WoW than the game itself, right? Like the game itself is fine. Like WoW is the worst game you play for the most time. Usually, like that is probably the best way that I could put it. Up until they put Havoc Demon Hunter in the game, that's a design masterpiece, and other people should fucking take notes. Havoc Demon Hunter is beautiful, but in general, it's a really like it's a well put together thing. And I just was not. I was running into time constraints and issues making raid consistently, and for as much as I was trying to play, and that's like my interaction with the game. Like, I don't have a way that I can interact with WoW that doesn't involve playing it for 20 hours a week and still enjoying it, right? Much like how I couldn't play 40K casually because I would show up to a game with an army that I liked playing, and someone would be like, God, I can't believe you took Terminators and Chaos, so broken. And I'd be like, oh, go away. So, yeah, same thing.
For me, it was EVE Online, but everything you said resonates.
Yeah, for me, it was Aeon.
Yep, it's the people more than it is the activity, right?
Yeah, so Kelly was commenting about when their raid group broke up, it's the same thing. When my guild and Aeon started to fracture because a couple people quit the game, I lost interest and also quit the game.
Yeah.
And to that, I think that 40K friendships, because you're interacting in real life with the real person in the physical space, at least for me, makes it easier to develop connections that go beyond just talking about 40K.
Yeah, very commonly, yes. I definitely had a unique WoW experience. Like me and my friends that I raided with, we would meet up pretty frequently. So like I know those people really well. But that's not the case for everybody. I think for most people, it just represents some form of community interaction, and for nerds, that can be a bit rough, right? Like often as a unit, us nerds, bit sorry for interaction.
Yeah, and I'll admit, like right now, 40K is my community.
Right.
Yeah.
100%.
For better or for worse, but right now, mainly for better. I end up doing crazy things like flying down to a tournament in New Jersey to hang out with people.
I wish I could have gone there.
Yeah, it was fun.
It was a lot of fun. I definitely want to go back and do it again next year. I imagine that it will probably happen again, just maybe at a different location.
Yeah, most likely.
All right, that's a question for Innes, which we will bring up next week. Which European player coming to LVO is going to lose to Liam Hackett in the final? Sadly, Liam Hackett will not be at LVO.
If Liam was going to LVO, I would put money on him to win just because he's a fucking stud.
Well, that would mean winning War Masters, winning the WTC, and winning LVO. I don't think you can beat that.
If there's a person alive that can do that, it is Liam.
Yeah.
Or Eric, but Eric doesn't have aspirations like that. That's not a thing. Eric's happy to just be better at people in other avenues of life. But not height, because he's my fellow short brother. Yeah. I don't know. I think that there's a lot of ways that LVO can go. I'm very interested to see how it breaks down this year.
But speaking of European players, Vic is going. I'm going to be rooting for him.
Yes, that's true. I will also be rooting for Vic, but I'm gonna try and give him a bunch of bad advice in the lead up to LVO and just be like, nah, bro, trust me.
I know the terrain better than you do.
Yeah, yeah, I know you had a bunch of experience on the terrain, so come listen to me, Vic. I'm actually gonna be recording Fireside with them tomorrow. Listen to their next episode. You should listen to them anyway because their voice is real good. But
Fireside 40K is amazing. Have you ever told the Rhino story here?
I think so. I mean, Vic told it on his podcast. He,
just go listen to Fireside.
Yeah, he played me and then like flexed about it on his show. It was fucking nuts. So yeah.
All right. Which army should I focus on for the next season? Finish collecting and play Leagues of Vodan, start a Harlequin's army, or start a Drukhari army?
Just play Leagues, dude. It'll teach you good fundamental 40k. Just go table people and take your like simple functioning secondaries.
Yeah, but also one of those is very much not like the other two.
It's true.
It is very true. Two of them are Trixie armies, and one of them is a very simple shove and face and kill.
I don't think elves are tricksy. They just have more tools to play the mission.
Sure, but people like calling them tricksy and makes them feel big-brained when they play them.
Yeah, I think
slightly more unforgiving is maybe a better way to.
I don't even think that's true. You have 400 units. If 3 of them die, who cares?
Fair.
Although if you happen to shoot something to death before your hawks have shot, then that's unforgiving.
That would be like shooting something to death before your Reaper can charge. That would be fucking trolling.
Never happens.
Yeah, I can't imagine that would ever happen to anyone, especially not a top-ranked ITC player.
It'll be throwing. You have to be in the top 10 to be top ranked, right? So
yeah, I guess you do. All right. Hey guys, coming back from a GT, how do you guys like at how a particular unit performed if you're determining if it was an under or overachiever? Do you try to look more at how well it did that it was supposed to do, or more a gut feeling when you see that a unit on the table in tough situations?
I look for consistency in role more than I do and like my use of it, right? Like, was this really good? And how often did I use it right? If I just use something wrong in like 6 of 6 games, I'm just going to take it out because like that's not getting better. But like, that's me and I have a bunch of experience. That's not necessarily like a broadly applicable rule, but I know at this point in my like 40K career that if I go to a tournament and misuse something 6 games straight, that's not going to get used correctly in the 7th game either. Like maybe we should just not use that particular piece. Also, often, bit of a side thing, if you have to work really fucking hard to make something work, it might just not be that good. And that's okay. There's a lot of stuff that's like that. But
and on the flip side, just because something performed well one time doesn't mean it's actually good. Sometimes you just get lucky.
Yeah, that's true too. Like Francois' list this weekend.
Sure, fair. Listen, I'm actually not going to play it again.
See?
But it was fun.
Yeah, that's fair.
You need the Grimnir, don't you?
You do need the Grimnir. Not having the Grimnir felt so bad.
Yeah, you're like, all right, I'm going to use my 2 strat. My 1 strat.
And since I don't have a big event before the fingers crossed, Thousand Suns and Flamers combo gets a little bit less oppressive, then I can bring the Grimnir back.
Easy.
Yeah, just wait.
Yeah, just wait.
All right. Anthony, are you planning to go to Adepticon 2023?
No, that is an event I will never attend.
Even if they make significant changes?
Maybe if they do, but most likely not.
Because you can stay with Nathan.
I could.
But you won't.
I could
go to a better event
that doesn't involve going to the Midwest.
Well, it's also the same. That's the one that's the same weekend as All Is Dust, right?
Yeah, it is.
Oh yeah,
So
then I'm like super not going. That's like
I
mega
already knew the answer to this because I was like, no, Anthony and Nathan are coming up to see us.
Yeah, there's no world where I go to Adepticon in a world that I can go to like basically any event with other of my friends at it.
Yeah,
yes, I would like to go
major that I get to run.
Yeah, I would like to go suffer for 3 rounds on terrain that people have just collectively gaslit themselves into thinking is okay to be worth showing up for. No.
All right. This is actually a good question. How do you deploy War Dogs to go second but still take advantage of their speed for CK secondaries and denying primary on GW terrain?
You don't.
I don't think you want to play CK on GW terrain.
They're actually okay, but you don't do that. Like it's a pressure game,
You
right?
just deploy on the line, and
I don't know that you like flat deploy like across the line, but a lot of the layouts you can like manage angles to an extent. If you have 13 dogs, you're not hiding though.
mm-hmm.
If you're doing 110, you could be like, shoot this big guy and nothing else. That works, but yeah. It's a pretty binary army now. Knights are taking hits. They're pretty like out of favor again now.
Yeah.
Well, if there's any amount of Votan anywhere, Knights are just a no-go.
Their defensive profiles just aren't commensurate with the offensive arms race in the game. It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, they rely on things that a lot of armies are starting to just be like, we don't care about.
Yeah. High toughness and invulns, lol.
Here's ignore invulns, and here's a whole bunch of high volume of attacks.
Or just auto wounding.
Yeah, that too. All right. How to tech for guard with Krons?
You can play guard. You can play WTC and not get paired into guard. You can... No, I'm out. Kleenex is a great brand of tissues that doesn't hurt your nose too much when you cry.
It does.
I guess plasma cutioners.
Yeah, pretty
plasma cutioners into 3 wound models is not a fun time.
They're 4 damage, aren't they?
No, they're 3.
Oh, they're 3. Is that it?
Yeah, you just don't.
The big tank, the new one, the Dorn is damage 4.
Oh,
yeah. But the regular Lehman Russes are 2 overcharged to 3.
Word. Why did I think it was 4?
You probably saw the Dorn stat sheet.
Yeah, if they were 4, they'd be even more insane.
Yeah, maybe I was thinking of something else. But yeah, it's not good. Also, your Catan getting erased by Kasserkin is funny.
Oh, that's just sad.
That banner is a bit much.
Yeah, you just lose them. It's like, all right, cool, thumbs up, thanks.
And then for Anthony, how would you go making an aggro cron list?
Annihilation
Legion?
No, I want the pregame move, right?
Yeah,
so I'd probably play like 15 raids, 18 Scorpex. And just
that could be fun
from there. And then just play like a bunch of Chronomancers, no king, and like as many Locust as you can fill in the gaps there with.
Yeah, I think that's about it.
Do we have any questions and pins that we just like never went back and answered?
That's a good question, actually.
Uh-oh.
Well, the first pin is Valence Vanilla. I really want to get good at 40k. Chaos Knights have been a blast, but I'm at the point where I start
God damn it.
rather than herder roll dice and move my max movement forwards.
Yeah.
We talked about that last week or 2 weeks ago, I think. I think it was last week. We've already talked about that. This one, actually. I'm not understanding what his question was.
Talking about
one. It was Paul's question from back in November.
Oh, he was talking about the scene being healthier in the UK versus in America, because that was I think that I'd said. I think I've expanded upon this since then, but just in general, like things are just because they have the UKTC and very regular events. There's like a much higher exposure rate to the players at the top in the UK. So you get people that are like my first like every opponent I played at the UKTC like put me on a clock. Like I wasn't like, oh yeah, we should use like a before I even got to that point, they were just like bloop. I was like, oh okay, I don't have to think about this. Like
that is much better than I would like to play a clock and then hand waving it's just for me. I want to make sure that I play at a reasonable pace so that they don't feel the pressure of the clock. Like a good example of that is round 1, my opponent clocked out and he got really, really nervous. And I was like, no, I'll give you 5 minutes. We have 30 minutes left on my clock. I'll give you 10 minutes and you can, just play out what you can for those turns.
Right. Yeah. So
like not having to have that discussion and just looking down and seeing a clock is great.
Yeah. People slow roll saves if it matters. Like there's a lot like it's just like healthier. Like regular folks there, I guess is the best way to put that. I don't know. Like the less experienced players. I don't know how to describe this. like the people that I played in rounds like 1 through 4, basically, that I would expect normally not to be very like savvy veteran tournament players were, or they had the behavior as such, right?
The expectations
tournament
there are
etiquette.
different.
Yeah, it just seemed like people were more accustomed to things. That was my experience there.
Hydar has I think has the right order. Alliance Open,
Hydar can talk more
UKTC, everywhere else.
Yeah, Hydar can talk more shit about US events when he doesn't start them 1 and 2.
All right, Hydar, you can't go 1 and 2 day 1 of LVO,
Yeah,
or else Anthony will never listen to you again.
Yeah, figure it out. Last time he got smashed by some nerd playing Drukhari who's only good when he plays them. So,
all right, this is kind of interesting. So the Grey Knight player that did well at Mythicos was a former War Machine Hordes player. On stream with Ennis, we saw him pull out some War Machine Horde movement widgets for precise movement. Do you think this is a thing we could see happen in the future?
I mean, you can, or you could just measure before you move the model and be like, I need a this on the charge. And you can make your life much faster.
And like for pylons and consolidates and all of that, like you get one of those 1, 2, 3 inch tokens, and that's all you need.
Yeah. I think that if people, when you over focus on precision in 40K, the game just like explodes. So you have to play with like a vague, not like a entirely vague, like some level of like understanding of what you're trying to do as you're doing it, rather than being like, wham, this is what I'm doing because this, like, it just like explain to me what you're trying to do. Yeah.
That's my problem with TCS, right? Because often in a combat, you can just say, okay, this is what I'm trying to do, and with my Paladin Consultant, I can do it. So you just do it, right? But then on TTS, people will go like, well, I have 20 models, and then one at a time, they'll drag them like 3 inches exactly, not 2.9, not 3.1, exactly 3. And it's just that kind of over focus on the exact measuring gets weird.
Yeah.
And that's why most of us play by intent, and we'll make it clear that we're playing by intent. It's like, this is how far I have. Yes, I can measure a precise distance here, but like, this is what I need. This is how I'm going to do this. And I'm not going to futz around with models too long, or I'll play a 5-hour game.
And for the love of God, if you're planning on charging, before you move your model, measure the entire distance so we don't have to argue about how long the charge distance is.
Yep. And I make a point of that. I basically say, like, a really good example is Zerk's coming out of forts. My fort is 12 inches away from you, 3 inch disembark, 5 inch move. I'm 4 inches away, 4 inch charge.
Yep. One can hope that we'll see, that remain the way things are played, right? Like, hopefully that doesn't go anywhere. But Brian has a point. Like, just double check, right? Like, when you're moving, it is important to be accurate. The difference between landing a 6 inch charge and an 8 inch charge is massive. Pay attention. So, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Alexander the Greek Anglizos says AdMech won the New South Wales or NSW. I can't remember. I think that's what that stands for.
That's New South Wales, yeah.
Masters Australia, and Tau won the Queensland Masters in Australia. Is Australia good or bad? Discussed.
I mean, Australia is clearly good.
Yeah,
they won the WTC this year, and an Australian won the War Masters. So
the question is Australia the best or not? Are they good or not?
Yeah,
they're good. There's no discussion about that.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes weird shit wins. Like, it is what it is.
Yeah, sometimes good players pilot a list. They get some level of luck in pairings, and that's the game. And then the last bit is, and I think only Anthony can answer this because neither of us have been to LVO before, is what is the LVO 40K friendlies like?
I have just no idea.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like you've seen.
Yeah. Like, is that like the doubles? Is that like, what is that? What part of LVO is that?
I have no idea. This is why I ask, because you've been to LVO. You may have encountered someone who played in them.
Just no idea. There's a doubles that happens. I'm like, that's cool.
And there's the RTT on the Sunday.
Yeah, I was playing in like last year. I was playing in the like all of the days, so I didn't really like the LVO experiencing. I didn't really do much of.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Last call for questions in the chat. I'm going to scroll back, but I don't see much in here. Someone keep me occupied while I look through this.
Talk to me, chat. Say words, end things. Oh, is Lim here? Is that Lim? That looks like Lim. Hey, Lim.
Well, someone in the chat wants Zerks coming out of other vehicles like Rhinos. You can't do Rhinos, but you can do Sagittars. And the 25 Zerks and 5 Sagittars, Anthony, that's a funny idea. I like it.
Maybe they meant Rhinos, like World Eater Berserkers.
Oh, World Eater Berserkers. Yeah, that makes more sense. That makes more sense.
Yeah. Look at you just defaulting to Votan. Scum.
Yeah. Oh, Tim's got
yes.
All right, two good questions, and then we'll round things up. Ella Woozle asks, can you tell from the stats if there are any units which, when included, visibly increase win rates? I can tell you right now that I wish I had that kind of data, but I skim lists and then just put in sub-factions. It's very hard to actually look at the incorporation of data sheets.
You would need an army of data people to collate that. It's not doable.
Or a really, really good scraping tool.
Yeah, a really good scraping tool would be one of the things. There are some people that are working on similar things that maybe we end up being able to do that. Like a really good example is because of how War Scrolls work in AOS. If you go and look at what they've done there, there's actually some really good data on the inclusion of War Scrolls and how they all work. So that bit is actually really nice. Being able to do that with 40K would be amazing. But yeah. And then the next question is Team USA and Team Canada updates. I guess I can give an update for Team Canada. I'm the trainer who doesn't know I'm the coach. One of the 3 members of, I guess, an informal executive between the captain, assistant captain, and the coach. I've been doing most of the training side of things and focusing on selection. So right now we are coming to a close in our selection process. We have 32 players that are currently vying for 16 spots. Team Canada does things a little differently than other teams. We actually select a team of 16, which then train together. And then from that, a team of 8 is selected to go to the WTC proper. And the reason that we do a bit of a larger pool is, one, it helps build up people for future years. And also because it means that we have subs readily available if something comes up, a family emergency or someone gets sick or life comes up, so that they can then come and travel to the WTC as a backup player. But yeah, we're coming to the close of that. We're currently doing an internal scrim. We just finished scrimming against 4 other nations. We played against the USA, we played against Northern Ireland, Austria, and Greece. And then we're now doing an internal scrim where I made 4 teams of 8 players to all just run heads at each other and try to see where they are at. And Francois is playing in that right now.
What house did you get, Francois?
Slytherin.
Nice.
And I have a feeling that Jeremy did that on purpose.
When I gave each of the team names a house from Harry Potter, and yes, when I looked to see which, I looked through each one of the teams and decided which name was the most appropriate. So, like a good friend of ours, Tim Dietliffs, is in Hufflepuff because he is the kindest, softest, most agreeable individual you could ever meet.
What did Sam get?
Gryffindor.
Yeah, Sam is Gryffindor because he's a goody 2-shoes.
That makes sense.
But listen, Team Slytherin as a little serpent mascot that we imported onto TTS and we can bring to the tables with us.
You also have custom TTS dice that you can use.
And we have banners with the Slytherin logo on them.
Wow, you guys went hard. Hell yeah.
Yeah, one member of their team is pretty good with computers and was just like I think it was by the end of the day that the team had been announced, he had put that all together and posted it in the chat, and I was like, all right, that's cool.
Nice. Oh, that's a good question.
Yes, I was going to get to that after Anthony gives us an update on Team USA because you are involved with that.
I am. It's true. Nothing really new right now. We're just playing scrims and doing stuff. I need more info to work with before we can really make more changes. There's nothing's changed yet. It's just dudes doing stuff.
Yep.
Jaime will be joining us.
And by that,
Paris for this year, so that's cool.
Oh, that's very exciting.
Yeah,
Jaime is an amazing player. He finished 2nd in War Masters, if I remember correctly.
2nd in War Masters. He's won a bunch of team tournaments in Spain. I also fucking love him as a person. Having him as part of the ship is cool. But yeah, keep an eye on Team USA social media stuff, namely the Facebook. We're doing announcements as things come on.
Nice. All right. Lim does ask the best question possible. Yeah, when is Canada and the US scrimming? Us then. Oh, get in touch with me. Reach out to me on Discord or Facebook and get in touch because I'm more or less coordinating all of them. We're playing Scotland next in January, so get in line after that.
Yeah, just message me. I can coordinate that whenever I'm in charge of it for USA. So,
but this question down here is the best question that someone could ask.
If you guys could change one thing about the WTC FAQ, what would it be? Selfishly, I would change the ruling on incessant disdain for Emperor's Children, as that is quite clearly, I would assume, and across most formats, played as being able to move 6 inches with characters, because it matches exactly what other stratagems of its ilk are, like the Custodes one. That's like the main thing, but that's like very selfish because I want to play Emperor's Children.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really have anything else. Most other stuff in the WTC FAQ is like stuff that I'm constantly like, yeah, and I'm like telling other events that they should be doing. So yeah, that's it for me.
Yeah, I love the WTC FAQ, and even the parts that are a little eyebrow raising, where you wonder where they got the idea of putting it that way. At least there's a clear answer, which I like.
Right.
Yeah, I can't think of anything out of that comes to mind because having lived in WTC land for most of last year and then much of this year, it's mostly very common sense on the rulings. There's very few head scratchers, and there's a lot of make the game enjoyable for people.
Yeah, I guess there's the reanimation having to be in coherency of an existing member the model. That feels a little weird, because it's fun to string to an objective, but I mean, that's nitpicking for me.
I like that you can't move Tau more than you get to move Tau already. Go away, Brian. Pivoting round-based infantry models for free is a bit weird because it does matter, right? Like line of sight is important.
Yeah.
So it doesn't is kind of weird.
It matters, but it also means that you're not keeping track of it then.
Yeah, I would actually prefer the world where we're not keeping track of it personally. So yeah, going forward, we will shake up a lot. Actually, so bear with us. Yeah, of course. Cool. I mean, no changes to the WTC for me ever are like initial knee-jerk reaction rages. I usually prefer to give that thing time to sort itself out because there's actually a team putting effort into it as opposed to GW stuff where stuff happens and I'm like, what are we doing?
Yeah. And I will say that for anyone who doesn't know, Lim is one of the 2 guys who are going to now be in charge of the FAQ along with Jay Middlecoat, I think it is. The guy from the really cool guy from Mohawk Miniatures.
Yeah.
The 2 of them are taking charge of the FAQ and rules questions. You know what? So long as you guys maintain being receptive to feedback, I got no issues with the direction that you take on this because I trust both of you implicitly in your rulings because you both have very level heads.
Yeah. So should be good.
Jay, I had the experience of him judging at the WTC this past year, and he was nothing but fair in all of his rulings. And Lim, well, I didn't meet him, but I got to know him through both the Enter the Matrix episode and also through the various questions they would ask at captain's meetings at the WTC the days of.
Yeah, he made a joke about that on Enter the Matrix, where he was like, "I'm not going to ask any questions," and then they started the captain's
first
meeting.
Hand went up.
Like, damn.
Brian, go to hell. You are not ever going to manifest that energy of removing the wall FAQ and bringing back the GW2 engine game.
Wall FAQ might be the best thing WTC does besides the event itself.
Yeah, no, the best thing that they have is the requirement to play by intent and communicate openly. That is the number one.
Fair enough. Yeah, the sportsmanship enforcement's a big deal.
All right. Well, I think that about wraps us up. We're at the hour and a half mark. Anyone have any closing notes?
No, I have to just scroll through the thing to find our outro music. So bullshit with chat for a second.
Thanks for giving me a whole 5 minutes of warning before I came on the show. That was great.
Thanks for joining us with 5 minutes of notice.
What a hero. Francois, the people's champion, even if he's not notable.
Yep, that's me.
You find it?
I got it.
All right.
Goodbye,
Good night, everybody.